Ribombee has recently returned to Gen 9 with the new DLC, and it has impressed competitive singles players the world over in the recent stats from October. Former staples like Clodsire, Garchomp, Garganacl, and Rotom Wash all fell down to UU recently due to poor usage, but Ribombee has somehow outperformed all of them and maintained its prestigious OU rank. But how? Although Ribombee was ranked pretty low in previous generations, it has always had its niche role in OU, and is a unique enabler of offensive teams. It has even seen some usage in Ubers formats in the past, and in Gen 9 it has proven a solid choice in Ubers once again. Let's take a look at what makes this very non-threatening looking bee so worthwhile in competitive singles right now, and why its usage is higher than ever. Like this video and subscribe so we can ensure that the criminally charged Pokemon Rabsca remains imprisoned along with his various co-conspirators. Thank you. Ribombee is defined by its access to Sticky Web, an entry hazard introduced in Generation 6. Sticky Web will lower the speed of grounded foes by one stage whenever they switch in. This is a powerful entry hazard on hyper offense teams. By limiting the speed of the enemy team, your own powerful threats become much more potent. A common hyper offense strategy in Gen 6 was to use Sticky Web alongside Bisharp. If the enemy uses Defog to remove Sticky Web, they'll trigger Bisharp's Defiant ability, granting it ×2 attack. Ribombee was introduced in Gen 7 and became a solid new choice for a Sticky Web setter that stood out among the rest. Shuckle was another popular Sticky Web setting Pokemon at the time, with its great bulk and access to Sturdy to live any incoming hit from full, access to another powerful entry hazard in the form of Stealth Rock, and Encore for some disruption to give entry points to teammates. This was a great option. Smeargle was another viable choice. Smeargle's gimmick is that it can learn any move in the game, so it's the most versatile of the Sticky Web setters. Spore is a great option on aggressive teams to disrupt the enemy and give you free turns to get your threats in, and the remaining move slots are very customizable. They can be filled with whatever utility your team needs. Galvantula was another Sticky Web setting option at the time, a decent choice with access to Thunder Wave and the Thunder plus Compound Eyes combo. Ribombee stood out from all of these Pokemon in a couple of ways. Ribombee is the fastest of all the Sticky Web setters with an impressive 124 base speed. It has a Bug Fairy typing, which is actually very nice and allows it to do respectable damage with Stab Moonblast. And Ribombee has the ability Shield Dust, an ability that makes you immune to the secondary effects of attacks, similar to the new item Covert Cloak. Focus Sash wielding hazard setters can sometimes be vulnerable against Fake Out. Fake Out has priority and a 100% flinch chance, so it's a guaranteed way to break a Pokemon's Focus Sash and ensure a follow-up KO. Since Ribombee is immune to the flinch effect thanks to Shield Dust, it was able to overcome this particular interaction. You could then Stun Spore the enemy Pokemon, crippling it and allowing you to outrun them and set your Sticky Web, or simply use Sticky Web to guarantee that it gets on the field. This made Ribombee perhaps the most reliable of the Sticky Web leads, but it was never ranked in OU in these previous generations. It had its little place in the format, but Sticky Web was not exactly the most common strategy, and it did have a decent amount of competition in the role of Sticky Web setter. In Gen 9, Ribombee has seen perhaps the most success of its entire career, and has risen in usage significantly for a couple of reasons. The simplest reason is that those other web setters it was competing with, like Shuckle, Smeargle, and Galvantula, are just not in Gen 9 yet. Before Ribombee came along, people were using Masquerain as a Sticky Web setter, pretty much just because there wasn't anything else. Ribombee is now the best Sticky Web setter in the game by far, and has a monopoly in this market. It also helps that Ribombee matches up quite well against popular rapid spinner Great Tusk, threatening it with a super effective Moonblast and resisting both of its stab types. But that's not all. Sticky Web offense is looking to be a much more effective strategy in Gen 9 than it has in quite a while, thanks to the presence of the new Pokemon Gholdengo, the greatest counter to hazard removal in Pokemon history. Gholdengo is famously immune to almost every single form of hazard removal, with the exception of fringe signature moves like Court Change and Tidy Up. Gholdengo completely blocks Defog from removing hazards. It is immune to Rapid Spin, and it is also immune to Model Spin, the new poison type hazard removing attack that is exclusive to Glamora. Gholdengo is able to maintain your Sticky Web on the enemy field very reliably. There are also a lot more Pokemon that can take advantage of Sticky Web in Gen 9. King Gambit is already one of the scariest threats in Gen 9 OU on its own, but when key Pokemon on the enemy team have their speed lowered forward on switch-in by Sticky Web, it becomes even better. Blood Moon Ursaluna has been a very powerful choice in the early DLC metagame so far. This slow wall breaker benefits very much from Sticky Web for obvious reasons. Even Pokemon that are around the 100 base speed benchmark benefit a lot from Sticky Web. Sticky Web allows them to outrun those fast offensive pivots that could otherwise force them out and reset momentum. Pokemon like Great Tusk can now outrun Specs, Dragapult, or Greninja. Ribombee's Shield Dust ability isn't as useful in Gen 9 without any real viable fake-out uses, but it comes in handy here and there. Although you don't prevent the hazard removal effect from Mortal Spin, you are immune to the poison effect, which can help you win the 1v1 against Glamora, and an immunity to the secondary effects of moves like Lava Plume, Scald, and Sludge Bomb is always nice, ensuring that you don't faint to the burn damage after being brought down to your focus sash. Sweet Veil could be a solid alternative ability, providing an immunity to sleep, though the sleep users Amoonguss and Breloom have fallen in usage recently. This Sticky Web offense team built by the player hpdark is a good example of the kind of team Ribombee works well on. I'll link the team and the accompanying Smogon Thread from hpdark in the description. This Ribombee set is using the standard Moonblast, Sticky Web, and Stun Spore, but with Psychic as the final move choice. Psychic helps Ribombee out against Glamora and Iron Moth. A Ghost Terra type is used for the occasional situations where you want to deny Rapid Spin and establish your Sticky Web safely. Gholdengo, King Gambit, and Great Tusk are excellent Pokemon that all help support this Sticky Web game plan. Booster Energy Iron Moth is a good choice as a late game cleaner, and this bulky Manaphy with Acid Armor, Take Heart, and Stored Power is very effective when the enemy is crippled by Sticky Web. This set can defensively snowball to unkillable levels, and even cure status effects thanks to Take Heart. Terra Dragon provides electric and grass resistance to give you more setup opportunities. A full write-up on the team with more detail into each Pokemon choice can be found in the Smogon Thread linked down below. Ribombee's role as the new premier Sticky Web setter has also proven quite valuable in Gen 9 Ubers. Gen 9 has some of the fastest Uber threats we've ever seen, with Pokemon like Miraidon, Koraidon, Zacian Crown, and Fluttermane running rampant. Sticky Web is a great way to punish all of these Pokemon and enhance slower threats like Choice Specs Kyogre or Swords Dance Groudon. Miraidon and Koraidon speed ties are a common occurrence in Gen 9 Ubers, and ensuring that you're faster than the enemy with Sticky Web can be extremely powerful. It's also quite nice to be able to threaten a one-hit KO against Koraidon with Moonblast, since Koraidon is ×4 weak to Fairy. Ribombee also matches up quite well against the common Defogger Giratina Origin, thanks to Dragon immunity and super effective Fairy Stab with Moonblast. Ribombee has always been a pretty solid Pokemon, despite its lower ranks in previous generations. But in Gen 9, the stars have really aligned for Ribombee. This Pokemon has no competition in the role of Sticky Web setting anymore, and Sticky Web is better than ever in this generation, with so many powerful Pokemon to take advantage of and enhance the game plan. Perhaps Ribombee's usage will fall if more Sticky Web setting Pokemon are introduced in the future, but for now, Ribombee is firmly ranked in OU, and even if it does fall, it will still have its solid place in the format. If you're interested in Gen 3 OU, check out the commentated sets from ADV Revival, a tournament hosted by myself and Simeon that is currently underway. We are releasing commentated sets from the tournament every day on my second channel, Jimothy Gaming. Thank you to the patrons for your continued support, and thank you to everyone who has donated to the prize pool for ADV Revival.
Whoa! KO by one hit! It scattered light!
The money got different.